Thank you very much again, Sir, for joining us. Such a pleasure and an honor to have.
Thank you, and thank you all. This is such an inspirational space. I walked in here and I'm like, wow, if this is where you all are sort of gathering and discussing ideas, I'm hoping that every one of you becomes this great innovator and goes out and conquers the world.
Thank you. Uh, I must start with something which you've begun your book. You've spoken about your sixth sense, your inner instinct that protects and guides you. And I think a lot of young people today feel this, confusion that, is it my intuition PKs or is it my pure woolly back? So how do you navigate that?
So I'm basically a skeptic, when you're brought up to think logically, then anything that remotely represents intuition, you start questioning कि ये कहाँ से आ गया? तो ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता, because your mind will take over, right? It's basically the logic or the science will take over. So अभी भी, if I'm looking at, if my sixth sense is saying, make a left, and Google Map is saying सीधा जाओ, I'm like, fuck that, I'm not, and invariably it's a shit show if I don't follow my instincts. Where my instinct really kicks in is, and I'll give you an example. I remember this was maybe 15 or 20 years ago. I was in Arizona, Scottsdale, at the Scottsdale Center for the Arts, and we were going to set up a huge festival there with with a major, then early scale, major sort of IT company, and everything was done. The money was in place, the contracts were there, the program was there, and I'd flown in to do the announcement and sign the MOU. And our local partner, उन्होंने मुझे कुछ कहा, and I can't remember what exactly she said. And suddenly something in my head said, this is just such a bad idea. And told her, I said, I know this is going to sound crazy, but you can't go ahead and do this. And I walked away from that deal. Fast forward to the Commonwealth Games, जो इंडिया में हुई थी in Delhi. Um, so we got a call. We did the big Commonwealth Games Arts Festival closing in Australia for the Australian government, because we do a lot of work in Australia. So obviously, when it came to India's turn, everybody came to us and said, "Will you do the opening or closing or whatever?" Uh, and it started with the torch, the torch relay that happens before any of these games. They take the torch country to country, etc. So it was supposed to start from the UK, and in the UK, we are seen to be a deemed organization. So the then bosses of Commonwealth came to us and said, like, will you want just do this for us? You're deemed as an institution and organization. And this literally happened like 3 weeks to the torch relay. And again, there was a lot of money involved in doing this for them. And I kept saying to my colleagues, I said, whatever it is, much sure, because this is going to be a disaster. And it was. There were hundreds of CBI inquiry cases after that. So sometimes, I mean, not sometimes, a lot of the times, certainly in terms of business decisions, uh, I listen to my gut. And for those of you who may be in the sciences, today that research is showing that the gut is the brain, or the gut has the brain, which then kicks off your thinking process in your head. So it's not that it's unscientific in a sense, because your gut instantly tells you that. The other thing, you folks know that there's this big collider in Switzerland, the big project. So
Has visited that.
you guys have visited that? Fantastic. So the latest information that's come from them is they're saying that the neutrons that make us also connect us outside of our body with space and time and with dark matter. And in many ways, it allows us to move forward to see what's going to happen. And that becomes, again, the idea of the instinct. So it's very interesting that science is now catching up with the idea of other existences beyond what we can see or touch and feel, different dimensions. And the idea that what we say is an instinct is our ability to go forward, see, not necessarily understand, but it's reflected through our trusting your gut. Trusting your gut, damn difficult to do. I mean, like I said, 9 times out of 10, I'm like fighting that gut instinct. What the hell? I mean, this is just doesn't make sense. But when you go with it, and I remember at some points of time, and it's in the book, our ascended master once said, till our antenna keep me hit. Go and fix your antenna because you're getting signals, but it's not. It's like in our times when television, you change the dish to catch the right signal. It's like that. You get your antenna sorted, and then your information from the universe will flow. And if you learn to trust it, if you learn to understand it, it may help you take much better informed decisions with caveat here, with adequate homework going into.
Trusting your gut, but also having the wisdom to support that decision. And you've done that so many times. You've uh, lived so many lives in one. If one may say so. From growing up in a naval household to activism, the theater, the television, and then building something as iconic as real. And I'm an, the teen they are also young, and it's an age group that is constantly feeling pressured or lost. Have we figured it out? What is the next step? So looking back, was there a clear plan, or how did you navigate so many?
No, if anybody ever tells you that they had a plan, let me tell you is rubbish and bullshit. None of us have plans. Accidents happen. One door closes, another door opens. It's about your ability to look at an opportunity and move forward. Did I have a plan that I would do this? Or even when we set up JLL, if we know that we're going to become the world's largest literary gathering or a company that seemed to be amongst the world's largest in the arts place, of course not. I mean, when I used to run a theater company, which is where Sunita and I met, my wife and I met. And when she decided we were going to get married, my father-in-law sort of said, "So what do you do?" "Why should I be theater?" So he said, "Nee, nee, matlab, what's your day job?" I'm like, "Nee, nee, I do theater. I save myself 1,000 rupees a month." I used to run theater action group. Barry John, some of you may have heard of Barry John. So Barry John was the artistic director. Theater action group was the big theater company in those days. So I used to be its executive heads. And it's because, my father-in-law kept saying, "But, how are you going to support my daughter?" And I'm like, "But she runs she's a manager of a big company, so she's got to support us." You can imagine that they'll why go with him. So television in the early, I'm talking about the early 80s here, maybe before many of you were around. Television had just opened up, and there was something called Mahabharata, the big, famous television show, and Ramayana and stuff. And they used to give like episodes to private producers. And because there was no uh, professionals in television in those early days, people used to come to us in the arts ki aap aake banao. And I used to say, "No way, I'm a theater person, मैं television नहीं करूँगा." It's like, मैं technology में नहीं करूँगा, फिर I'm a touchy, feely person. But I did, started directing some stuff for them, did a whole host of series for them. And then we started teamwork primarily to employ all our colleagues in theater, because nobody had a job. All of us were in theater. All of us were pro of the time. So we said, "Chalo, ye karte hai." So that's during the day, we're working, and during the night, we're able to do theater as well. That's how. So again, accident of fate. And in those days, there was no, just say, आप लोग आज देखते हो ना, series of 8 drops today, blah, blah, blah. In those days, there was no concept of a season. So many of our shows, ran every day or every week after week, month after month, year after year. So by 1995, we had like 15 daily and weekly soap operas, game shows, Tormol ke Bod, Chuda Laga ke, food programs, puppet shows, news programs. and they just ran non-stop. और इन दोनों क्या होता था, we used to shoot in Delhi in the studio, and then in those days there was a physical tape, a VHS, there was a U-matic tape. That U-matic tape that was edited had to be flown physically to Bombay. Bombay में यहाँ पे chat होता था, whether it was CTV or LTV or whatever TV. And that used to be that physically sent to Kathmandu to be uploaded. So you didn't have any opportunity to say, आज मेरा तबीयत खराब है, यार मेरा डेट नाइट है, या आज चलो यार फ्राई की जाके फिर फ्राई की खाते. You had no choice. You had to do the same thing every day, day after day. And every Saturday we used to have a meeting with all of our producer colleagues. और मुझे याद है, those were the meeting we used to say, अच्छा, who's run away with whom, या who's behaved badly with which actor, usko, write him out or write her out, or who's run away or whatever. And two of our senior producers, Manika and Sharupa, were in the book. They came to us one day on a Saturday and said, we are brain dead, we can't do this anymore. And I'm like, okay, if you're brain dead, you want to do television, let's go back to the arts. Again, just one of those instinctive decisions to shut down a whole television, and we were one of the first off the block. We, Babu Basu, did Kaun Banega, uh, Kaun Banega, Crorepati, and Eddie TV. All of us started off together. And so we decided, okay, we're going to stop. Forgetting that we were making money notionally every hour of the hour. I mean, making money meaning all of these television channels that are so bright today, Sony and Z and L and B, all of them lived off us because they used to have this thing कि आप एपिसोड बना के दो, फिर 90 day cycle में हम आपको पैसे देंगे आपके telecast, which typically used to be 120 day cycle. So we were basically funding and financing many of these television stations in their inception years. So when we stopped, we nearly went bankrupt because, as all of you know, in those days, the arcs had no value. There was no money in the arcs. My partner Mohit and this musician Val and Mohit's sister Kanika started something called Friends of Music. Friends of Music was a platform where Indian Ocean and Parikrama and Mrikya and Mohit Chauhan all emerged from that platform. And because it was so successful, we did the same thing in theater. हमने लोगों को कहा कि original script लिखो, हमें भेजो, we commissioned the writing. Similarly, we did the same thing in dance. It was like Asta Devu and Daksha Sheth and Aditi Malhotra. So we said, do something that otherwise you can't do. Don't come and say that they're doing the same old thing. हम ऐसे करेंगे. I said, कुछ करो जो we're giving you खुला छूट. Sure, some stuff will be shit. Understandable. In experimenting, you have to learn failure is the first step to knowing, to be able to make something better. And we had all of this content, and by which time in 1996, Kunita, my wife, had an accident in Goa. Again, it's in the book. It was foretold that this accident would happen. And I hadn't cut my hair for a bit, so our eldest son, who was in a school called Basant Pali in Delhi, so one day he came to me and he said, are you going to cut your hair? So I said, why? So I said, if you don't cut your hair, you can't come to my school. And I'm like, yes, no for parent teacher day, food day, annual day, Uthe, because normally, as you all know, you guys are the best, parents are the bastard, they're like, they fucked it all up. I'm like, out of that. I don't want that shit. So I grew my hair. So because my hair was always kind of long and maybe more black than what it is right now, people used to think, अच्छा ये सब बड़ा अच्छा बात कर लेते हैं और लंबे बाल है मतलब artistic होगा. Or उन दिनों in the UK, etc., diversity was this big thing. Meaning, if you are a person of color, you are the next big shiny thing on town. So I used to do lectures like this in many of the universities and sit on many of their boards and stuff like that. And whenever I traveled, I used to see so much of stuff from across the world, but nothing from India. Outside of Ravi Shankar and Dakir Hussain, you didn't see any work coming out of India in those days, which was mainstream. हमने सोचा, but we have such amazing talent in India, in all 1.3 billion plus They're so talented. Why don't we have a platform? So we started the first platform in 1999, 2000 in Edinburgh. और एक बार वो कहते हैं ना सफेद छाप लग जाता है तो बाकी इस की बाकी was this की.
Lucky and always been ahead of your time. Like fashion art in those days, even today, there's some struggle. Of course, it's now become very different. See, from your college days when you opposed a Pakistani president coming to your college, and uh, even today with Jaipur Literature Festival, you can see, inviting Istarman and this thing, always been ahead of your time and done things and not being scared of doing things that may find some kind of opposition. Your advice to the next generation to have that.
Don't be frightened. Do not fear anything. Listen, we guys have fucked the planet. We've left nothing for you. You have nothing to lose. Seriously. You have an idea, you have a dream. If you're passionate about it, go look for it. Will it be easy? No, it won't. Will you buy a yacht tomorrow morning? Then go join a bank. Or maybe not. Smuggle board. Easier. Or sell drugs. Whatever you want to do. But if you're passionate about something, whatever it is, follow that dream. Because waking up every morning and being able to realize that you're working 24/7 to realize your dream and recognize your full potential, that's the excitement. That's what we're waking up for.
7 a.m. Are you at tomorrow? Sorry. By talking about not being scared, this book really scared me. She said. You mentioned a lot of stories from, it being a fire volunteer, your hand to skeleton hand that appeared on the mirror. Please narrate the most scary incident from the book. Admits the
I'll first narrate the easy, the happy one. Then I'll do the scary one. So see, when I was a kid, I saw my first. I mean, at that point of time, we don't articulate it. Ye bhook hai. I had no idea. I was 5 years old. My grandfather had passed away. The ceremonies were over. We were in Calcutta in my grandparents' home. And, you climbed into bed. During the beds used to be big four-poster thing. And climbed into bed and there was Vachardani of the bed around. And I saw this, this hand sort of flash across the mosquito net with a dagger. Luckily, my grandmom also saw something. She saw something. So I screamed the place down. But it wasn't that I thought कि मैंने भी देखा ऐसे कोई बात है. And most of my early sightings or my experiences with Bhoot Pret or the other was not necessarily that I thought अच्छा मैंने ये भूत देखा, अब ये भूत दिखेगा या कहाँ पे भूत दिख रहा है. Nothing. Incidents used to happen. I used to give them a logical explanation कि, cassette player का switch off हुआ, so I must have woken up, so I then projected what's in my head or whatever it was. So, so those were you explain it away. It's only after Udita and I got married, when she started going on her somewhat spiritual journey, that we started making sense of everything that we were seeing. And many of the other stuff that you see here was not necessarily only me saying it. These are incidents that happen. I mean, booths appear not necessarily only the night. They could appear in pretty much lit rooms, in hotel suites and wherever, and with lots of people witnessing this. So the sweet story is the one in Valladolid. Valladolid is a place in Spain. Valladolid used to be the erstwhile capital of Spain. It's where Isabel and Ferdinand married from two different Spanish kingdoms and created the basis of the Spanish Empire. It's also where the Inquisition, आप लोग पे Inquisition पता है? Yes. So if you were not a Catholic, then or even if you were a Catholic and somebody wanted to beat up on you, it's the equivalent of what's happening today. I don't like you. I want your land. Or maybe you're a minority community, so I want to grab it, whatever. So in those days, that was the big thing. As in Valladolid was also one of the first universities for the poor people, for poor people with this bill. And when I arrived in 2001, I'd gone there because we were doing some work in Spain. I stayed, and I didn't know I was staying in this part of the university building, which was the first building that had been built in stone in the early 13th century, so 1200 and whichever. Anyway, in Spain, it's like India. They eat a lot. They start eating at 10 o'clock at night. They finish at 2 o'clock in the morning, by which time I was in food coma. I come back to the hotel and I'm paranoid about sleeping. मुझे नींद नहीं आता. So I have to put a, eye mask. उसके ऊपर I put a pillow so that tell my brain that it's time to go to sleep. So I did all of that, and I just felt there was somebody who came into the room. So I, took off the pillow, took off my eye mask, sat up, and I see this person just standing at the alcove, like one of these arches. Uh, person standing there. And so I thought maybe room service se koi aaya or somebody's come to say something to me. So I said, can I help? And as I'm looking as a person, so I, like to look a person down, when somebody comes to you, check them out kind of stuff. So I'm looking and I'm like, oh, haath nahi hai. And then I go further down and I'm like, oh, pair bhi nahi hai. And then I started looking at the person's face again and I'm saying, neck bhi nahi hai. At which time, normally I would have jumped and screamed and shouted and, run out of the room and, all of this kind of stuff. Except that this person was like really like a gentle person. He was like sitting like this. He was looking at me. I was looking at him. And I'm like, turn the light on. So, I said, maybe not. And it disappeared. And then I saw it again near the archway of the window where there was full moon outside and was coming through the curtains. And this continued for a while, and then it disappeared, and I went back to sleep. And I dreamt of this group of mendicants or whatever friars, sort of walking across a bridge with a lantern and singing something and carrying on them. That was the dream. When the dream ended, I woke up in the morning and I said, "Chalo, dream hai." Didn't think twice about it. When I wrote this chapter, so I was writing this now, fast forward to 2023, 24, even writing the book on a day. And the editor said to me, can you get us some more background on the university? Because you need to flesh out this chapter. So I wrote to the vice chancellor of Valladolid, who I know very well. And I said, can you send me any research that you have in English on the origins of the university? And when I started reading that, it talked about how there was this group of mendicants who used to live on the other side of this bridge, who used to be dressed in white, and they were persecuted as part of the Inquisition. And I had no idea that Valladolid had this bridge, and the bridge and the palace of Valladolid, where this university is, were both built roughly at the same time, and that these were the mendicants. And it's so funny that sometimes these stories come of full circle, 23 years later, there was some kind of resolution. It was amazing. The more scary one, I mean, there are many which you can read. So when our youngest son was 2 years old, we used to live in a place, Saptarjanga Treb, Delhi mein, kisi ko pata hai? It's in South Reti, near in and around Saptajang 2, Saptajang Hospital. Yeah. So most of those old colonies of Delhi are built on graveyards of the slave dynasties and the Lodi dynasties, etc. Those were the graveyards of many of the earlier capitals of Delhi. And when these places were developed, they were developed literally with the यहाँ पे बड़ा इमारत नहीं था, तो people used to dig up these graveyards, build homes. And our home was haunted, meaning outside our 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 bedroom used to be recessed at the end of the house. Outside that was an old people tree, and it used to be full of all kinds of everything that you read about in a Bhoot Pret Kahani, you found in that people tree. Punita, my wife's office, because the kids were young, used to be apart on the on the top floor of the house. And her colleagues, Benny and Madesh, etc., used to randomly see, headless person in chains, person crying. Matlab, I thought they used to see this kind of stuff. Anyway, so when Avik was born, pretty much when he was 1.5 and onward, he used to wake up every night, like shrieking, "Wo aa rahi hai," and his sheets and pillowcase was smeared with blood. Literally, not just a trickle of that blood, like somebody's taken a paintbrush and painted blood to saw blood. And like parents are always like hysterical, right? If something happens to your kids. So we took him to, Dr. Preeti Parkal was our pediatrician, went to her, went to the ENT, went to everybody. Nobody could find out what source this bleeding came from, which happened every night. Every night it was the same thing. Just sit up, shouting in the middle of the night, "Wo aa rahi hai," and they used to confess. And then one of my friends from college, from Stevens with College Prop, he used to be a great Shiv Bhakt and Kali Bhakt. And he one day came and said, I think the reason for this is that he's a great Kali used to be very fond of Ave. Ave was a great Kali Bhakt. She wants him back. So please whisper this mantra every day, Kultunita. And then they did some Challi Fog stuff. And then over a period of time, maybe 10 to 50 weeks or whatever, the bleeding stopped. It was low. But for us, it was so, and again, you think medically, right? You were used to thinking, ki, kari ka ye hai, ya, some prokop is happening or whatever's happening. We just, is therapy. So that kind of stuff is always, yeah,
Especially when happening, which I
especially when it's happening.
there's one more chapter about your pies when you and your friends and colleagues were there in your site with a leap and the sheet levitates and your wife's body during so and then it very interestingly mentioned that when he spoke to your master he said that many years back or to
1,000 years.
get it. And then for your karma it taken a deeper. So this whole concept of karma, does it guide you? Because I myself am a very religious person, so I believe in karma law. But with these things, we think about your karma, we seen, it very
I don't know whether I think of karma. I'm not necessarily a religious person. I may be a spiritual person, but I'm not such a religious person. I don't go necessarily to a temple. I do meditate every day in the morning. And my mom's, used to be my mom's puja god. I still go on like the diya. So the effort, and I hope this is an effort for everybody in this room, like Bishop and Kapisa, etc., is how do you make yourself a better person? All of us today, and you guys are young, and we were young, and you partied Mackie, and, I was a great activist. I was always spiking with somebody or the other. It's very easy to go into this hate default mode. You hate somebody, or you think angry about something, or you have a problem with your parents, or your grandparents, or your friends, or the world outside, feel that they have failed you. So that's the easy part. What is damn difficult is to work from a place of love and respect. We think love is this mushy, oh, only two people can be in love. But to work from a space of love and respect, forget with each other for a second. Look at what people done to the planet around us. Every bomb that's being dropped in Gaza or Iran or Ukraine is a bomb on heat on the planet. And this planet is the only home that all of us know. It's just one home. Yes, we may have our individual homes, but the planet is our only home. Elon Musk may want to go off in space, but that's his karma. But for us, we have to treat our planets and our homes and our environment and each other with a sense of respect, which is the reason I'm hoping you folks are here at II anyway to be able to understand that. karma and stuff like that, that's really, दूर की बात है. होगा होगा. Because it doesn't necessarily impact you to date. Yes, as you grow older, you have a slightly different sense. You have slightly different tastes, you have a different perception. But it's not something that you can function with ki, acha mera karma acha hoga to I'll be nice to this people first rate. Screw that. Be nice because you should be nice. Be kind and giving because you have an opportunity to be kind and giving. You have, you are entitled, you're in this beautiful space as opposed to 1.3 billion other people. You have this advantage. If you have this advantage, play it forward. Give somebody else that advantage. Try and help somebody else. It could be anybody. It could be the kid who you see downstairs. It could be your guards, whatever. It could be your neighbor's son who is on the spectrum and needs help. Whoever it is. If we, each of us, don't look at it as our primary responsibility to help somebody else, to pick up that plastic bottle that somebody has thrown, to pick up that packet of chips that somebody has left on the road. And we don't take that responsibility, nobody else will. There's no point saying government karega, chaprasi karega, MCB karega, whatever it is, FCB karega. No point. It has to start with us. The way to a better world and the way to your evolution as a human being, as an entrepreneur, as a manager, as a careerist has to start with you. When you go into a job or wherever you go, somebody will be nasty because finally it's all about power, right? Trump thinks that we can fuck the world, so he's fucking the world. Netanyahu thinks he can bomb Gaza, so he's bombing Gaza. It's about power. But if you're able to understand how power can help rather than be a destructive force, you're sorting out your karma as well. Don't worry about
the time and work to leave back.
Be respectful, be empathetic, and understand that nobody else has your perspective. And it's your responsibility to help even in your worst moment, even when you're having the trickiest moment, somebody's, beaten up on you in really nasty, you have not a dollar in your pocket. Doesn't matter. It doesn't give you the right to be horrible.
Now taking you from this to, you've spoken about Shastri ji. My tarot also go for Shastri ji. And today there are a lot of godmen and the spirituality has been commercialized a lot. How, as young people, we navigate this space and how will you need to walk away from it, or this is the person I can trust?
The Shastri ji we inherited, somebody sent him to us 30 odd years ago. I call it Khopri because he's a pastry weaver. I don't call him Shastri ji. He waxes eloquent. A lot of the time, I don't even understand what he says because he says that it very should Hindi, which sadly I have never been taught, so I don't quite understand. But it's always interesting to hear these people. Never necessarily believe them or listen to them. There were two instances that it came to pass. So, the accident that I talked about. So one day he comes to see me. So he normally comes, there's Navratri that just finished. So he normally comes just before or after Navratri on both times of the year. So October, wherever it comes. So in this particular time, he came in around May and he said, kaise hai Ataza? He said, तो आप 6 जून पे कहाँ पे घूमो? कैसे देंगे? I said, but why? ये देंगे. कोई बात नहीं. बस पूछ लो. I said, अच्छा. He said, अच्छा, बताइए तो 6 जून में आप अंदर होंगे या बाहर होंगे? I was like, I don't know. I mean, typically in June, we used to take the kids to holiday to Goa, Taj Holiday Village, and, that's where we were most possibly sure. So I said, why? Is it in? Wait. So then he said, अच्छा 6 जून को फिर था अब बाहर मत जा. I said, क्यों? I said, बाहर मत जा. Anyway, fast forward. And he kept saying this, and I kept saying, why? He kept saying, no, nothing. Don't worry, Abdu. My guru has asked me to come and see you, but don't worry, it'll all be okay. Yeah, you also 6, just don't go out, don't worry, don't stand in. All of this guy. Anyway, 6 June arrived. None of us remember. We left the kids as we normally do in the hotel, and we went off. If we were going to be leaving a couple of days later, so our holiday was winding down. So we were out drinking at this place called Bob's Inn or whatever. And we're always a very robust, and we used to drink a lot. So everybody was, screaming and shouting and having an argument. And the next door table to us complained, and the restaurant owner came down and said, everybody get up because you all are making a noise. So we all get up and we hear this huge crash, bang, whatever. And we look around thinking that, somebody got, we were all okay. The next door table people, they got onto their scooter, and the first rains had come, the oil slick had come up, they had skidded, and it looked like they were, out. So I picked up this guy's hand and I felt for his pulse. I did hear his ox. I said, he's dead. At which point in time he started story. Anyway, we then pick him up, we take him to the local PHC, which is not so far away. And meanwhile, we're all standing outside. The Taj manager is passing by. He looks at us. He says, what happened? We said, it's an accident. He said, sir, don't worry. You guys go that. I will take him to Bambolim, which is a different place. I looked after him. So you guys go back. So I was sitting. So we were on 2 scooters. There was friends of us, Malika, Viraj, and Lee on one scooter, and Tarun, Beaton, and Punita on this other scooter. As we were about to go off, Purita gets off the scooter, comes to me, taps me on the shoulder and said, well, you just go there. So I said, why? She said, no, let's just switch. And as they were going off, Tarun says to Viraj, boss, we've had all of these accidents. We're all sober now, but just drive carefully. The mist had come in, a late night mist had come in. And as we approached the Taj Holiday Village turning, for those of you who may know, we saw this scooter with its wheels spinning at 3 bodies at 3 different places. And Punita had started hemorrhaging and the fire popped out. Anyway, because we knew what to do, we went in, asked the hotel for a car, put her into the car, drove her to Bambolim. Now we get to Bambolim, which is a hospital in emergency. So remember that guy, the first guy who's now Arabic, and so he's there on the first bed. On the second bed, the restaurant owner felt guilty, so he had followed them to Bambolim and had driven into a herd of cows. So he was in the second bed, again out as a light. In the third bed, the Taj general manager guy was helping pull out the stretcher. He fell into his ditch and he broke his toe or whatever. So he was at the third bed, and Kunita was on the fourth bed, and this was the sixth that she in that particular year. And the other one that he got correct was, you all know Tarun Tejpal from Tehelka. Everybody knows. Anyway, this may take before your times, but Tehelka was at the forefront of targeting this present government. They got into a lot of trouble. Somebody had accused Tarun of a Me Too thing, and the then Goa Chief Minister and Arun Jaitley reached out and they were arrested. And I asked Khopri, I said, what's the scene? Because everybody thought, chalo, let's see the bottom we can take it out. And he said he won't get out till 20th of May, which was like 6 months later. I remember like, what? Very silly. I mean, we pick up a phone, let's speak Chidambaram or EM or whoever. And he only got out on the 20th. But for the rest of it, I know really. Yes, you're like, oh.
Scientists, it is the whole world of it's so very interesting to read.
He's predicted that the war will continue for a while, and 50 dates, we'll all be fucked. Mamta Banerjee will win, will lose in Bangalore.
Should get your mouth to Divatam stopped in. But now coming back from the otherworldly things to you, your work at Teamwork Tab. You've brought Jaipur at the on the map, and you take it Indian story and writes this to the world. At Ira Kiritaibu, something similar with the culture, language, try to get people to Kipur or Japan, where Indian food, having Indian food, etc. What more distinct young people and civilians in general can do uh, so as to make India, more known.
India is known globally, except I'll tell you a story. So when we were taking JLF to USA, we were shopping around ki kahan pe, where will we set up? Will we set up in New York or Chicago or wherever? And I remember Mayor Delhi's then head of international affairs said to me, so Sanjoy, how did you come up with the name Jaipur? Is it named after the perfume? He went, right. No, it's a city. Oh my God, it's a city. We're like, yeah, it's a 1,000-year-old city. They tend to be a little over the top. And fast forward, so in the 4th year of the Jaipur Literature Festival, we get an email from Oprah Winfrey's office. Oprah Winfrey, is that no Oprah Winfrey? So we get a little email from our office saying, would you consider inviting Oprah? She's really keen to come to India. She really wants to come to your festival. Would you please invite her? So I'm like, yeah, so let me think about it. Of course we invited her. But it was hysterical because, in America, they think America is the center of the world and they think only America exists and America has only American time zone. So typically they'll call me at 2 a.m. our time, Sandra, and then have the most absurd questions, both absurd problems, equally absurd questions. So anyway, I finally fly out to Chicago where we have an office or Partner Studios. There are 62 people around the table because they want to shoot 4 episodes when there's India. This is one of the things they say. So Sanjot, Oprah wants to do this one-on-one with a middle-class family like she does for her channel. She does these one-on-one interviews. So I said, yeah. So she said, so who would you recommend for this one-on-one conversation? She really wants to do it with a middle-class pal. So by which time I knew what was coming, I said, define middle class because in India, they said, Slumdog Millionaire. So then they're telling me, so Sanjoy. So I said, anyway, what do you have in mind? I said, Sanjoy, we thought we'd do this in Dharavi, and Oprah really wants to do this under the radar. So we were thinking that we'll only have 4 outriders, 1 stretched limousine. Oprah will wear a hat and sunglasses. Do you think anybody will recognize her in Dharavi? Unlike outrider, stretched limousine, Dharavi. So they have no idea. Fast forward, English she gave, that's a whole different story. Fast forward, COVID's happened, right? 2020 or 21. America's changed all of its banking policies, so I have to go personally to sign off on, we have a Keyboard Arts Inc. in America, so I have to sign off on documents. So now we're in Washington at the Wells Fargo is this big bank that's sort of like the HSBC or HDFC or whatever. And this is in Georgetown, which is like South Bombay, Nariman Point equivalent. So in the main headquarters of Wells Fargo, meeting with the vice president of our businesses, of the corporate whatever. So anyway, she fills up very efficient, fills up all the stuff, gets me to sign off everything. And then she's looking at the final paper and she's asking my colleague Suraj, so Suraj, this is our headquarters address in Delhi. So she thinks, Suraj, what is DELHI? So Suraj says, Delhi. She says, no, it's like a cafe. When he's saying, no, it's like Delhi. It's, India, India's capital is Delhi. He said, "Oh, right, it had the capital. We thought it was Karachi." 2022, Washington, main place. So if we think that Americans are interested in us, boss, they're not. Lesson number one: two, don't try too hard. They don't read, they have no idea. If you make them a paneer burger and say, "What is this paneer?" maybe that'll lead to a conversation too. But after they've thrown up because it's not beef, they'll lead to a conversation about tea. Just be yourself. Carry with you the idea of India. Carry with you your identity. Carry with you your language, your space, your culture, your food, the way you are, the way you speak. That's how you can popularize India, by being yourselves. Don't try and do anything to please this other lot. Waste of time. And if you're in China, they are even more racist than us. If you think, we are racist in India, which we are horrifically racist, they are double that racism. And they think Indians are like, just shoot off. So again, there, it's like, you know, I was there for a bit and, they give up you a mile. There's always somebody following in China because they don't wanted to go here, there, or the other. Luckily, this hotel that I was in had two entrances. So I called the guy in my room and I ran out the other side. I was trying to look for the other China, eyeing the malls and stuff, glitzy China that you'd see. And when I was going to look for something, I wanted to look for something, a dang board. But anyway, and this guy says to me, "So, where are you from?" I said, "India." "No, no, no, you're not India. You're not India. You it." So they have no idea. They think India, of a particular kind or whatever, and they behave in a particular way. Yeah, I agree totally. Just be yourselves, folks. Plus, we raw. Let me tell you, you go anywhere in the world, you're the brightest, you're the most well read, you're the most well spoken. There is nothing to feel shy about. You will outshine anybody 9:1. Do your thing. And I'll give you this last example. Do you guys know MIT? MIT in America. So MIT has a media lab. The media lab is a great innovation place. It's called Media Lab, but it's anybody who has an idea, you can go and innovate and create that, which is what I was saying to Abhita and Rishabh to make this into a Media Lab. So MIT had invited me to talk to them about the next big idea. Every year they do the next big idea. So because I have long hair, I got invited to places like this. So I landed up there. And my deal with them was that you show me the media lab, take me on a tour of the media lab because it's the most exciting space. And they don't allow you in because everything is copyright. It's a great hub of innovation. So they have teams, like three of you would be looking at, if you had an idea, how to photograph an object behind this wall. So they created this invention where you can photograph behind the wall, which is now being rolled out by the armaments thing so that you can see what's behind the walls. So anyway, at the end of the tour, I was like, why are they Indians in this space? There were very few. There may have been maybe 3 Indians who I sit out to it. And the dean said to me, "Oh, because of criteria, you have to be a doctorate before you come to MIT. Your doctorates, they work differently." I said, "But why you have to be a doctorate? I mean, don't look for a doctorate in a year. Do your workshops and try and find people who have spark and ideas. Because every day in India, we navigate to survive. You know, in Europe, etc., mind the gap between the train and the platform, or this bottle of milk has milk, or this bottle of nuts has nuts. I mean, you guys don't know what danger is. We do every day. We look for our gas, we look for our whatever. So they agreed and they came and did a workshop in Pune because I said that's the great place for students and stuff like that. And this one guy who came through their interview process, he had failed, he'd got acted I think he'd done 10 courses, he had failed 5. And he had just about passed 5. But he had something, so they called me and said, Sanjay, will you interview him? Because we're not getting a set. So anyway, I did an interview and immediately I felt he had a spark. He may have been on the spectrum, but he had a spark. So I called the dean and I said, why don't you take him? Because what is it going to cost you? Cost of a MIT Media Lab person is about $75,000 that MIT does, or your Fedora. So I said it's not even 0.0001% of today's interest on this year's endowment to Karla. So they took him and they put him into a group of people working with, stuff for people with seeing challenges or people who are blind or challenging. So normally when you're working on that, you look at how best to read Braille on your computer or how best to use the walking stick or what. So this guy, Pune guy, failed 5 classes, did 5 classes. I forget where they took he did university. I don't think, yeah. What he did in that first 3 weeks, he put a chip in his left chappal and his right chappal, connected it to Google Maps. If you had to turn left, your left chappal vibrated, you had to turn right, your right chappal. Like, that's what innovation is about. And if you folks, and I feel, you guys have energy, you're in this little space, think of innovation. Think of what you can do. It doesn't have, you're not sending anybody with speak. Can. But think of how do you make a process of the simplest things easier. That's all you need to do. How do you improve on an existing process? How do you make the Excel sheet better? How do you make your iPad better? How do you make your pen writing? Whatever it is, whatever that drives you, think of that one idea. You will fail in all probability. But please, failure is the first step to success. If you learn from your mistakes and learn well, without getting too caught up, "Arey, hi baab, ye to maine kar diya, pura zindagi khatam ho gaya, main kya kar raha hu?" All of this kind of, drama stuff. I mean, do drama, it's very fun. You can photograph yourself, do drama. But beyond that, learn from that mistake and then go ahead. That's the biggest learning. Learning from mistake. I forgot the question, by the way, but I've gone us around.
Not pleasing the Americans or the Chinese. And
It's not about not pleasing, just be yourself. Don't have to please anybody. I hope you all have brought up your parents well. I've been brought up well by my kids. I try to bring up my parents well. I did to some extent, except my father used to keep asking, how do I educate my younger son? My younger son is a nuclear physicist, economist, and my younger son is, I said, I'm in the arts, yeah. It's okay. Jula wala ho. Papa.